In the £500 to £1,000 price range, mountain bikes are pretty much trail and mountain ready. There are a few pitfalls to avoid, but spend wisely and you're going to get a well-built and capable bike. It's really important to get a bike that's the right size for you. Otherwise, you'll risk dealing with aches and pains following longer rides. The bad news is that bike manufacturers don't all build to the same standards. And in many cases, you'll be left wondering if a medium is the same as an 18-inch. And what's an 18-inch? If the bike has a numbered size, it will refer to the length of the seat tube. The problem is, the distance between where you sit and the handlebars is arguably more important. And that measurement has a fairly loose correlation with the seat tube length. Take the expert advice of shop staff on board, and don't be tempted to jump or drop a size because there's a bike on sale. Unless you have a good understanding of bike fit, then you may want to avoid buying online, or at least make sure there's an easy returns process. You may or may not have heard that there are now 3 different wheel sizes for mountain bikes. There's no outright best size, but they do have different characteristics. Some riders consider the bigger 29-inch or 29er wheels to roll better. So if cross-country or hard surface riding is your thing, then they should suit you better. 26-inch wheels have been dominant for years, so there's lots of spares available, plus the technology is extremely well developed. However, they're being rapidly replaced with the new 650B wheels, also known as 27.5-inch. These middle-sized wheels are often favoured by people who are looking to ride at trail centres, or just want a smaller and more agile bike. Hardtails, which have front suspension and rigid back ends, dominate this price range. However, you can find very capable full suspension bikes if your budget is close to the £1,000 mark. Hardtails tend to be lighter for the price and easier to maintain, but having front and rear suspension will improve your traction, confidence and comfort if you're planning on taking on steep or rough descents. One more factor to consider is how much suspension you need. You'll find most bikes in this price range offer anything from 80 to 140 millimeters of travel, and more is not necessarily better. In the simplest terms, the more travel the bike has, the more likely it is to have been optimized for descending and rough terrain, rather than climbing and mellower trails. Be honest with yourself about the type of riding you'll be doing, and you won't go far wrong. Bikes in this price range will generally come with mid-range gear shifters and derailleurs, which sounds like a boring fact, but is actually great news. That's because this kind of kit offers trickle-down versions of the new technology found in high-end group sets. It's just easier to maintain, a little bit heavier, and much cheaper. Expect to see a lot of Shimano SLX and XT, as well as SRAM X7. And remember, it's the range of gears that counts, not the sheer number. Hydraulic disc brakes are well and truly on the menu at this price bracket, and we'd almost go as far as to say we'd avoid a bike without them. The alternative is a cable-pulled disc brake, which lacks the confidence-boosting performance of hydraulics and requires more regular maintenance. Most hydraulic brakes will get the job done, so there's no need to be too fussy over brands. If you're looking at Shimano or Avid models, then you're definitely on the right track. Tyre choice makes a massive difference to your riding, and getting a good set on a new bike is definitely a bonus. But preference depends on the rider, terrain and conditions, and you'll need to replace them after they wear out anyway. A good set of wheels is arguably more important, as taking a bike off-road will put them through their paces. And they're a much more expensive potential upgrade. Brands like Mavic, DT Swiss and Giant generally offer good value, but there are many others we'd happily recommend. If you're spending £500 to £1,000 on a bike, you're going to be a relatively serious rider, even if that's just at weekends. So you owe it to yourself to take the cheap, slippery and heavy pedals that came with your bike and throw them straight in the bin. Buy a new set at the same time as your bike, and you may be able to get them discounted or even thrown in. You have 2 basic options: quality flat pedals or the confusingly named clipless. If you're going to be riding long distances cross-country, then we'd urge you to consider going clipless straight away. It's not that expensive to get set up, really doesn't take much getting used to, and the advantages are absolutely massive. If you're going to do this, you're also going to need to pick up some clipless compatible shoes to which you can attach cleats. Finally, remember to trust your instincts and buy the bike that feels right for you, but only after you've done plenty of window shopping. Give us a shout in the comment section if you've got any questions. If not, go ahead and click subscribe and we'll see you on the trails.